What's going on, everybody? Hope we're all having a good day. I got this old VR headset on. I see my desktop in virtual reality, but we'll be going over my VR settings for the Oculus Quest 3 in iRacing. Now, it looks like I need some new drivers installed, but we don't care. We're going to go ahead and go through with it anyway. Looking in my actual Meta, Quest settings here, we got the render resolution to 3200 by 1728. And I have my resolution set to the 120 hertz and not the recommended 72 hertz, because screw that, baby. We're trying to hit the big hertz out here. So you can go ahead and click OK. We're all set up on that. And then we can go ahead and launch iRacing and take a look at our graphic settings in there. Now, of course, when I launch iRacing in my Oculus, I go ahead and select Oculus. That is a big thing to do. It selects the correct INI file, which we'll be going over an INI file thing after we look at these graphic settings. So let's go ahead and load in now. So first thing you'll notice with my iRacing is that it's actually in a really small window, and this helps a lot with the frames or the FPS in your VR headset, because it actually really doesn't matter what resolution it is on your monitor that is in front of me here. It can be super small. It will not affect the resolution inside your headset because it is a completely different monitor. I just double tapped it and now I'm in a different vision. Might be a little bit hard to see on the screen, but this is what our graphic settings are right here. They are set fairly low. We do have some shadow maps on and stuff like that. But I do have a 3080 Ti in my PC, along with I think it's a Ryzen 7 3800X3D, I believe, is the CPU. So we're dealing with I have some fairly decent equipment. But yeah, you generally want to set the graphics as low as you can, or want to, until you kind of find the right FPS values that you're looking for. So this is maybe a good place to start off at if you want to just copy exactly what I have here and then adjust accordingly. The first thing I would turn off if you're not hitting the best frames is these shadows. Those are going to help with your frames a considerable amount. And then if that doesn't do it, then I would go with the stuff on the left here in that column there. It's always very important to have the SPS enabled in VR. That will help out a lot with frames per second and things like that. But that should be nice, short, and sweet as far as just my graphic settings. And as I mentioned, just a few seconds ago, turning down the resolution is good stuff. That will increase your frame rate a lot with the VR headset. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the INI file. And there's one thing in there we got to change that'll help a little bit as well. I'm doing this whole part with my VR on, so bear with me. It's a little crazy. So you'll want to go navigate to your documents, iRacing, and then at the bottom here, we'll find our INI file pretty easily. It's the Oculus, the Render DX11 Oculus. That is for specifically the VR headset INI. So you can go ahead and right click, open with Notepad, and then you can Control F Pit. I'm trying to type with my headset on. And then you will find max pit objects to draw. It's defaulted to 40. At least for me, it's defaulted to 40. But you want to go ahead and change that to 0. If I can find the backspace button right there, 0. Then do a little space so it formats correctly. Then go ahead and click Control Save. That will make it to where it only draws your own pit stall only. No one else's will ever be drawn. Only yours. So if you're racing a NASCAR or whatever in the world you're racing, it'll be super easy to find your pit, and it's really great for the frames per second and for your PC, because it doesn't have to render everyone's pit or like unrender it and re-render it as you're moving if you only have a certain selected amount of stalls being rendered. And that's a big thing. And then another thing you can do, there's a lot of options in here, such as this one, the dynamic resolution, shadow resolution. We have it set to 1, which is not the lowest number. It's the second lowest number. The lowest one would be 0, 512 by 512. But that will help with your shadow resolutions if they look ugly, or if you're hitting really bad FPS, you can turn down the shadow resolutions, and that might help you out a little bit as well. But usually you're probably just going to have to turn off the shadows if you're not running very, very consistently. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I had this thing strapped to my face the whole entire time. Really fantastic stuff. It feels freaking weird. So leave a like on it if this helped you out. If you have any questions about your graphics settings or anything like that, let me know. Otherwise, have a good day. Goodbye.